Welcome to the Befriend course. Just a few months ago, I met up with an acquaintance I had initially met online. Even though it was our first face-to-face interaction, within 10 minutes, he was sharing deeply personal details about his life, things he hadn't told anyone else. He confessed that he was having second thoughts about his engagement, doubts about getting married, and then said something that stuck with me. "Man, I haven't told anyone this, not my friends, not my co-workers, definitely not my fiancée. I don't know why, but I felt like I wanted to tell you. Moments like this happen to me all the time. People tend to confide in me about things they wouldn't normally share, secrets, radical opinions, past traumas. And because of this, these relationships often thrive, evolving into strong, lasting friendships. Today, I want to show you exactly how you can get people to open up to you, creating deeper and more fulfilling connections in your own life. There are really only two things you need to focus on. The first is reducing your filter. Most of us are afraid to speak our minds or act freely because we fear judgment, ridicule, or social rejection. So, we bottle up our thoughts, ideas, and feelings, default into safe, surface-level topics, the weather, classes, last night's sports game. But deep down, we're all searching for someone with whom we can share our true thoughts and even strange ideas. When you signal from the start that you don't care about being a perfect snowflake and that you're comfortable discussing socially awkward or unconventional things, people instinctively feel safe opening up themselves. The trick is surprisingly simple. Share something slightly unusual or unexpected about yourself. For instance, I sometimes tell people that I don't sit on toilets. I squat instead. As a kid, I hated the cold feeling of the toilet seat, and it turns out humans are naturally meant to squat. There are actually health benefits to this posture. The exact detail doesn't matter. What matters is the principle. By sharing something a little strange, you communicate that you don't obsess over social norms. That signal alone relaxes others, allowing them to reduce their own internal filter, share their own unusual thoughts, and feel safe being authentic. Of course, there's a fine line between being perceived as someone with reduced filter and being seen as completely crazy. This depends on your perceived value, which we've discussed before. Someone with low social value, a neighbor who lives in their parents' basement, unemployed, or socially isolated. Sharing bizarre claims is often dismissed or avoided. Contrast that with a respected scientist like Bob Lazar sharing an unconventional story about alien technology. The same statement carries weight because of his status and credibility. Your perceived value comes from basics: hygiene, dress, physical fitness, social proof, and confidence. The higher your value, the easier it is to get away with being unconventional without alienating people. The second essential skill is asking the right questions, specifically what I call assumption questions. These are questions based on careful observations about someone, framed as a hypothesis. I'm noticing X. Is that accurate? For example, when talking with my acquaintance about his engagement, I noticed he sounded monotone when mentioning it. I said, "I'm just going to be honest with you. Man, you don't seem very excited about the engagement. Is something bothering you?" Assumption questions accomplish two powerful things. First, they demonstrate that you're actively listening, paying attention not just to words, but tone, body language, and subtle cues. That level of attention signals care and interest, which people naturally respond to positively. Second, assumption questions encourage reaction. If the assumption is wrong, they correct you, providing a natural bridge to other topics. If the assumption is correct, they often begin to open up, releasing thoughts and emotions they've held back for months or even years. This creates a space for meaningful, genuine connection. The combination of a reduced filter and well-crafted assumption questions is remarkably effective. By showing that you don't adhere rigidly to social norms and by actively listening and responding to cues, you become the person people feel comfortable confiding in. You send the signal, "I won't judge you, and I genuinely care about what you're saying." It's the perfect setup for authentic, deep conversation. But knowing these techniques isn't enough. You have to turn them into habits. You won't transform into a social connector simply by watching this video. That's why we created the Habit Builder Challenge, a program designed to help you practice, reinforce, and sustain the behaviors that make meaningful connections possible. Whether your goal is improving your relationship health or overall happiness, Building the right habits is essential. Practice consistently. Step out of your comfort zone and make interaction a daily habit. This is how real progress happens. So, how do you put all this into practice? First, reduce your filter. Share a small, slightly unconventional detail about yourself. Second, observe carefully, listen intently, and formulate an assumption question. Guide the conversation gently based on their responses. Over time, this approach transforms small talk into genuine dialogue. Conversations stop being superficial. They become meaningful, engaging, and memorable. You'll find yourself creating connections that are not only deeper, but also more resilient, lasting years. Ultimately, getting people to open up isn't about impressing them, showing off, or being charming. It's about being present, showing that you don't overfilter yourself, and demonstrating that you genuinely care through attentive listening and thoughtful questioning. When you consistently do these things, relationships naturally deepen, trust grows, and you start forming connections that are both rare and valuable. The next time you engage with someone, try this approach. Observe, reduce your filter, and ask assumption-based questions. You might be surprised at how quickly people begin to open up and share things they've never told anyone else. And remember, the key is action. Turn these strategies into habits and watch your relationships flourish in ways you never imagined.